Hair growth advice online nowadays is even louder than ever. Every few months there is a new method that someone swears by where their hair grew to waist length. Most of these methods have been labelled as hair growth, even though the way that they got there was actually very different to hair growth itself. That's where a lot of this confusion comes from. But before we even get into it, I want to say this really clearly. If something has worked for you in this video that I have ranked lower, that does not mean that your experience is wrong. Hair is affected by genetics, health, routine, consistency, and timing. Different people can get different results from the same method. As a trichologist, this video isn't about telling you to stop or start doing something. No. Please don't get it twisted. I don't want you to walk away from this video thinking that. This video is more about explaining how methods work from a trichology and hair science perspective, what they actually do, and what the strongest evidence for them is. Education does not cancel lived experience. If your hair is healthy and a method works for you and I'm telling you in this video, please don't use it. Please don't take it personally. We don't like to scaremonger around here. If it works for you, it works for me. So with all that being said, welcome to today's video where I am going to rank viral hair growth methods. This is based on biology, safety, and real world results. And where I can throughout this video, I will actually link the source to this method if there is scientific evidence out there. We're starting from the F tier and working ourselves all the way up to the S tier. Okay, let's begin with F tier, and these are methods that I would say as a trichologist you should stop using. First and foremost is hair gummies. Now, this hopefully shouldn't be a surprise to some people, but hair gummies are essentially vitamins packaged like sweets. A lot of them just contain a ton of sugar and low doses of nutrients anyway, so it's just vibes. Vitamins only help hair growth if you are deficient in them. Taking them just produces an overload and does not help. And unfortunately, because of the strong marketing around these gummies, these give a false sense of progress. You might feel like you're doing something, but nothing is actually changing underneath. This is just your natural hair growth cycle, not the gummies. Next is the inversion method. Now, I've seen this method go viral online for several different reasons in the straight hair and curly hair community. And essentially this method involves hanging your head upside down, and the idea is that blood rushes to the scalp and triggers hair growth. So the blood flow does increase momentarily, but it's only for a short time. Hair growth needs long intervention, not short circulation changes. There is no solid evidence that this works. Yes, your favorite influencer may have come online and said that this was the most game-changing hair growth method for them and now they have waist-length hair, but that might actually be something else that is not got anything to do with this method at all. So I'm just saying, try to take what you see online with a pinch of salt. The risks essentially outweigh the benefits on this one. Next is Chebe being used on the scalp. Now, before I get into this one, Chebe is one that I think is something that I need to tread carefully on just because it is a traditional hair method and it's something that has been used for a very long time by the people of Chad. I know it was popularized, I think, maybe around the pandemic or just before it. So I know that there's gas around it, if that makes sense. But I do want to kind of make it clear what Chebe can and cannot do, and I think this video should hopefully help, but I don't want it to be taken as I'm completely saying don't use Chebe. Okay, disclaimer is out the way now, let's get into it. So essentially it works by heavily coating the hair strand, and this is what I think is really important here. That massive coating of Chebe powder essentially heavily coats the hair strand, and because of this it reduces breakage. So when the hair doesn't break, it retains length, and that's why you may see or hear that people that use Chebe grow hair. What they're actually doing is retaining length because it helps to coat the strands and massively reduce breakage. And the thing is, length retention and hair growth are very similar but also very different things. Chebe does not stimulate hair follicles, and using it on the scalp can actually cause some irritation depending on your scalp tendencies and also blockage, and that creates a poor environment for hair growth. Now, Chebe works best on the hair length, not on the scalp. So if you do want to use it for that purpose of length retention, go ahead, be my guest. But for hair growth, that's not going to do what you're looking for it to do. Okay, we are now into the C tier, which is overhyped but still useful methods. These methods don't grow new hair. They essentially improve how hair looks and behaves. They reduce breakage, dryness, or damage, and that can help you keep more length over time. But as I said before, retention is not the same as hair growth. Okay, the first on this tier is caffeine shampoos. They can affect cells, which has been shown in lab studies. However, shampoo does not stay in the scalp very long. And that short contact time, as you can imagine, because it's a shampoo, it limits absorption. And there's also little real world evidence for growth with this. These shampoos aren't harmful, so I don't think you should completely avoid them. If you find that it might work for you, that is your real world evidence. Take it, run with it if you must. But these are not growth treatments. So when you see a caffeine shampoo being advertised to triple hair growth in a certain amount of time, just be careful. Next is biotin supplements. Now, biotin supports the structure of the hair. And like I said with the gummies conversation, biotin only really helps if you're deficient. And that deficiency is very uncommon. Extra biotin doesn't make your hair grow faster. And high doses can affect blood test results. And honestly, most people don't need biotin supplements, but just like the hair growth gummies, it's the same thing. I think we as humans like to think that we can take something, ingest something, and it produces crazy hair growth, which I think is normal to kind of think about and want or desire. But hopefully this video should give you the right tools and knowledge of what works and what doesn't work based on evidence. Let's get on to the next one. Next on the list is castor oil. Now, especially in the textured hair space and the lock space, there's a lot of hype with castor oil, and it has a interesting track record in our natural hair space. So I don't want to tread on anyone's toes here and like say the wrong thing, so I'm going to try and be as nice as possible about this. Castor oil is thick and really occlusive. It seals moisture and it adds shine, but hair can end up looking thicker and heavier because of the use of castor oil. There is no strong evidence that it stimulates hair growth, so the effect that people usually see is coating, not actual hair density. And of course, heavy buildup can cause scalp issues if overused. So it's not really an ingredient that I would use all the time. I used to use it early days of my lock journey, and over time I realized that castor oil was actually attracting a lot of lint because of how thick it was. And then I moved over to jojoba oil, which was much lighter in consistency, and it was happy days. Yeah, I think castor oil is an interesting one. I know that a lot of people swear by it, but I think similar to Chebe in the sense that it coats the strand, it therefore creates less breakage, which over time can help you retain length, not grow new hair cells. Next is Ayurvedic powders. Now, powders like amla and balmy strengthen the hair strand. Yes, don't get it twisted. Stronger hair breaks less easily, similar to Chebe and castor oil when you use it, and less breakage means better retention. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's all about length retention with most of these things. There's limited evidence that they affect the follicles, but I don't want to ignore the tradition behind it like with Chebe. So I would like to say here that if it works for you, continue using it. I'm not going to tell you to stop. They support hair quality, not growth signals. Next is my most interesting group of hair care products, but I love them nonetheless, is bond builders. I use them all the time, especially from brands like Redken and L'Oreal Elvive, and bond builders repair damage inside the hair strand essentially. So they improve strength and elasticity, encourages less breakage because your hair is stronger. You see where I'm going here? Length retention reduces as breakage is also reduced. Bond builders are great for certain purposes. So for example, if you've dyed your hair, a bond builder would be really great to use straight after. For example, the acidic bonding line from Redken, I use that quite often after I've dyed my hair, the shampoo set, and I think it works perfect for that purpose. However, that doesn't mean it's growing my hair. These products don't act on the follicle. They essentially don't trigger any new growth, but they help the bonds within the hair to become stronger and repair itself from the inside out. Next is rice water. So rice water also coats the hair with starch, so this improves slip and shine. The hair essentially tangles and breaks less, and the follicle isn't affected here. The growth results are visual, not in any way biological. Okay, let's move on to the A/B tier, which is supportive growth methods. These methods have some sort of scientific support. When I say some, I don't mean that there's a million studies out there, but there's some level of scientific support out there, and I will do my best to link those as I go through each one. These really work best with consistency. They support growth rather than replace treatment, and results depend on the cause of the hair loss. First up is rosemary oil. Essentially, rosemary oil has anti-inflammatory effects. It might slightly reduce DHT activity, and one study found similar results to low-strength minoxidil over 6 months, and we'll come to minoxidil in a second. Results took a lot of time and consistency, and the effect is, I would like to say, modest in the nicest way. It supports growth conditions rather than overriding genetics or extreme causes of hair loss. Next is scalp massages. Now, before I get into this one, I also want to say that scalp massages went viral on TikTok a while back, right? And is all I can say. I don't want to get onto the person that said that scalp massages work. This is not a direct attack. This is more so kind of having a conversation about what could work and what's out there to support that. So let's get into scalp massages. Essentially, scalp massages physically stimulate the skin, and this could affect how cells behave. And blood flow to the area essentially increases. And a study showed increased hair thickening with daily usage. So if it works for you, do it. This is why I said what I said at the start of the video. If scalp massages work for you, go ahead and use it. It's essentially really low risk, and the changes are gradual. If you don't mind being patient, trusting the process, seeing how it works over a month, go ahead and try it. Track it, I would say. Take a picture if you can every day, just to understand if there's been a difference between day 1 and, for example, day 30, because then you can really gauge whether it's worth continuing with. The next is derma rolling or microneedling. Essentially, this is done by creating micro injuries around the scalp and hairline, and these injuries trigger growth factors, and it improves the absorption of tropical treatments. So the results are essentially stronger when combined with things like minoxidil. However, incorrect use can damage the scalp. You don't need to use it every second of every day. You're just going to have your scalp bleeding, right? So you have to use it in controlled amounts. Okay, we are finally on S tier. Now, these are clinically proven growth methods, and there's only one that can top this list, okay? And you're probably close enough to guessing what that is because I've kind of hinted at it. It is minoxidil. Minoxidil is a topically approved treatment by the FDA, and it is approved for male and female pattern hair loss. It essentially extends the growth phase of the hair cycle and improves blood flow around the follicles. There are large clinical trials that support its effectiveness, and it's the most reliable non-prescription option. But like with anything that I said on this list, you have to be really consistent over a period of a few months to actually see growth and change. And stopping treatment means that you lose supported growth. So some people report that they end up losing hair after stopping the use of minoxidil. So I would really say only use that if you're committed to using it essentially forever. So I feel like there's a pattern across all of these different hair methods, and I'm gonna name a few of them. First and foremost, hair growth starts at the follicle, not through the lengths of your hair, not through the ends of your hair. All of these products that I've mentioned, apart from minoxidil and a couple others, mainly only affect the hair strand. Hair growth and retention are two different processes, and I think if we start to think about them as two different things rather than one collective thing, then maybe we would be able to accept if our hair could or couldn't grow using a certain product, because maybe it's the length retention that's actually helping us a lot more rather than hair growth itself and stimulating new cells. And it's a shame because I kind of put the blame on hair care companies, at least the ones that are brave enough to go out there and kind of spread misinformation. Many methods are marked as hair growth when they're actually not. Real growth treatments change change the hair cycle, and cosmetic treatments, on the other hand, change appearance. So thinning and shedding honestly respond best to follicle focused treatments. I think there are a lot of supported habits that I mentioned in this list, and they can be used if done consistently for its most effectiveness. So we have come to the end of this video. I am really interested to hear if there have been any hair methods that I have mentioned in this video that have either worked or not worked for you. So drop them in the comments below. Let's have a chat. I'm really intrigued to see what you think as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, leave them in the comments below. I do get back to people. Please subscribe, please like and share this video. It lets the algorithm know that this video is worth watching. Thank you so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.